Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds from 3dgameman.com and welcome to another video review. This one is on the Enermax Platimax 1200W power supply. Platimax, the name, comes from platinum to the maximum. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Either way, it sounds very cool and the box looks even cooler. Isn't this the sweetest looking box you've ever seen in your entire life? And it also has lots of features and specifications about the product on it. So let me take it out of this beautiful box and have a closer look at the product. It has this kind of cabinet concept on the box. You have a drawer here at the top which has the user's manual, a couple of bags here to put all of the modular leads in. Down here we have a bonus fan and the power supply. Isn't this very neat? We're not done yet. Below this free fan is a power cord holder. This actually gets attached to the power supply, so the power cord won't come out. Very handy to have. 4 screws for mounting the power supply in the case. 4 cable ties for organizing the cables, as well as a modular sockets and DC rails distribution diagram. Now, let's have a closer look at this. Now, the Platimax series of power supplies are currently available in wattages ranging from 500 all the way up to 1200. I'll be reviewing the 1200 watt model today. Now, how is this wattage determined? Well, to understand that, you need to know what rails are. And rails are basically well-regulated transformers which convert domestic current into the voltages that your computer system can use. And there are essentially 2 different rails, the 3.3/5 volt rail and 12 volt rail. In this particular case, the approximate maximum peak output of the 3.3/5 volt rail is 120 watts and the 12 volt is 1200 watts, which is essentially how the wattage of this power supply is determined. Now, it's important to note that this power supply has a peak wattage of 1,440 watts. The 3.3/5 volt rail is responsible for the motherboard, memory, PCI cards, and so on, while the 12 volt rail is responsible for the hard drives, optical drives, fans, CPU, video cards, etc. It is also important to note the peak amps on each rail. Well, the plus 3.3 volt and the plus 5 volt rails are 24 amps each. Now, there are a whopping 6 plus 12 volt rails. Each plus 12 volt rail is 30 amps, but the combined total on the 12 volt rail is 100 amps. There are a number of important things to remember when selecting a power supply. The first is wattage. Determine how much wattage you are going to require by the amount of hardware that you will be installing. Generally speaking, a medium to high-end gaming rig would require a 500 to 700 watt power supply. For a hardcore system, select a power supply that's around 800 watts. If, however, you are building an extreme gaming rig with a top-of-the-line multiple video card setup with lots of other hardware, select a power supply that's 1000 watts or greater. Second, it should be at or above 80% efficient at typical load. This power supply's efficiency is between 89 to 94% at 20 to 100% load. Third, it should meet the latest ATX and other current standards, environmental directives, overvoltage, undervoltage, and other protections. This power supply meets all current standards. Fourth, I'd recommend choosing a power supply that has APFC. APFC, or active power factor correction, assists the power supply in being more efficient and therefore stable under load. APFC basically reduces total harmonics, corrects input voltage, and it allows for full input voltage range. Thankfully, this power supply has APFC. Fifth, there are 3 main certifications: 80 Plus, NVIDIA SLI, and ATI Crossfire. Many of today's high-end power supplies meet one or more of these certifications. This power supply meets the ATI Crossfire and 80 Plus Platinum requirements. It's also server ready. Finally, get a power supply that has enough leads for your setup. Also consider a power supply that has a modular design because it reduces the cable mess inside of the case. Also, it's important to get a power supply with an excellent warranty. This power supply comes with a 5-year warranty. Now, this power supply has a ton of features. I won't go through all of them, but I will go through a few of these. As I mentioned before, this is server ready. It also has cord guard, which is basically that little clip I showed you, clips on the back of the power supply. The power cord goes through there, and when you have that on there, you can't yank the cord out. That's great because, well, sometimes some people or something mysteriously rips the cord out of your power supply and everything shuts down. Also, it has heat guard, safeguard, speed guard, all kinds of different technologies. It also has FMQ design. What is FMQ? FMQ stands for Full Zone Magnetic Quadrant Transformer Design. Basically, it fully utilizes the transformer's quad magnetic quadrants energy to provide maximum switching efficiency and outstanding output stability. It also has a very, very stylish, fantastic heat sink. And this heat sink, basically, with its shape, lowers wind resistance to increase airflow and enhance cooling performance. It also has a copper bridge array transmission, as well as a patented high magnetic power density transformer. Now, all this might be gibberish to you, but needless to say, this power supply has a lot of technologies, and these technologies make it stable and efficient. This power supply has a very cool appearance. The paint job is kind of rough, has this dark gray black theme. I like it. It also comes with a 139mm twister bearing fan, which I also like a lot. I'll have a bit more detail on that in just a second. This fan and the ventilation, which there's lots of, ensures that this power supply remains cool in almost any environment. So what's so special about this 139mm fan? Well, this ain't your regular power supply fan. It has minimum contact area, making it ultra quiet. The fan also comes with a rotor with integrated magnets for frictionless and smooth motion, and it has self-lubricating bearing material absorption protection, so it will last pretty much forever. Here's the power switch and the power cable connection. This power supply has lots of sleeved leads, and they are all modular. And by the way, this is a 100% modular power supply. Modular leads are fantastic because you only need to use the ones required for your particular setup, which reduces the cable mess and increases airflow inside the case. Finally, have a listen to the 139mm fan. And note that this fan will continue to spin once the power supply or the system is turned off. This will just ensure that the components inside the power supply will be cooled down adequately. If you're in the market for the best, most efficient power supply on the market that has an amazing fan, is 100% modular, and is jam-packed full of fantastic technologies, this is it. And remember, it comes in a wide range of wattages, all the way from 500 all the way up to 1200. So you can get a power supply that both meets your budget as well as your system. Overall, without a doubt, this is a 100% kick-ass product. Until next time, take care.